Are you stuck on what to pin? Well, let's fix that. Blank boards, maybe empty queues, feeling like Pinterest is just another task on your to do list? Well, you're not alone. And today I'm giving you real rinse and repeat ideas that make your Pinterest strategy feel fun again. Yeah. So let's get right into it. And hey, welcome back to the Pin and Plan podcast. I'm Lisa, your Pinterest pioneer. I'm a bit of a Squarespace nerd and founder of Body, Mind, Mood and the Simple Site Lab. And if you've been staring at a blank Canva doc or maybe even like a blank Adobe doc and thinking, what do I even post? Right? Then today's episode is absolutely for you. I'm tackling one of the biggest blocks that I hear from business owners, not knowing what to pin. Now, I've created a list of 10 plug and play ideas that you can absolutely use today. Plus, I'm including later in the show a tip to help you make your next blog post do like seriously 5 times the work. I mean, who doesn't love that, right? And real quick, I'm going to talk about last week's poll because it's setting sort of the stage for today's topic in my mind, So let me rewind for a second and talk about the first ever Pin and Plan podcast poll. Now, if you remember, I asked, what's your biggest Pinterest struggle right now? Now, I'm going to keep it real with you. I didn't get a lot of votes. Not yet. Which is, it's totally normal, right? It's my first episode and I'm just getting warmed up here on Spotify. But based on what I see every single day inside of the Pinterest business community with my clients, both fitness and web design, and also I did have, to be fair, a few people who shot me a DM with their vote. I kind of put it all together to give you the results. So here are the top answers, and there's actually 3. So 2 that are tied for third. So let me get going. First one is, I don't know what to pin. That was totally number 1 and definitely a reason I'm talking about what I'm talking about on today's episode. SEO was number 2. Really, the mindset is I'm lost. I don't understand what SEO is. It's too complicated. And how do I use it on Pinterest? I don't understand. And tied for third were high impressions and low clicks. And it all feels overwhelming. Now, high impressions, low clicks, I hear from a lot of creators on Pinterest who've got, a lot of really high monthly impressions, lots of followers. I also, hear it from people who are new to Pinterest, maybe people who've used Pinterest a few years ago, left it, came back, and are kind of like awestruck with all of the changes that have happened on Pinterest. So very overwhelming. Now, if you're sitting there, you're listening to this and you're going like, yep, that's me, right? Then you're absolutely in good company. And today's episode is going to hit exactly where you need it to, okay? Now, before I hit you with these ideas, these amazing ideas that I've created, let me zoom out a little bit here. If you're stuck on what to post, remember, it's not usually about not having enough to say. It's usually one of the following 3 things. Now, this is a mini list that I've created, so let's do it. Number 1, you're focused on what's trending instead of what's helpful. Remember, this is not Instagram. It's not about trending audio. It's not about trending templates or trending dances right? It's about what you're posting, what you want to post on Pinterest that's helpful, that will help pinners who use Pinterest as a resource, not as a scroll, sit and scroll, but as an actual resource. What's going to help them, right? That you offer, your service, your business, right? Your content. Some people, well, you don't know your customer's journey clearly enough. Now, I see this with my clients who are trying to do websites, putting out that big idea, but they really don't understand the pain points of their clients. They don't understand the client journey, the highs, the lows, and the sort of in-betweens. So, that could be something that you're struggling with. You're not understanding maybe your customer's journey enough. Lastly, you're overthinking it. Right? You're overthinking. And I think we're all kind of a little bit guilty of doing that. And you feel as if Pinterest or the content that you create has to be perfect. Well, I'm here to remind you that it doesn't. We're human. And, we're not perfect. Right? I agree. When you go on Pinterest, you see lots of really pretty, really aesthetically pleasing pins. And you also see some pretty bad ones. I'll be honest. But you know what? like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be relevant. It has to be helpful. It has to be a resource. Think of Pinterest as a resource. Don't think of your content as like solely performance. I mean, yes, you want likes, you want saves. Who doesn't, right? And we're all there for the Pinterest love. But resource, if you're thinking of your content, think about it as a resource. Pinners come to plan. They plan baby showers and weddings and parties, grad parties, and summer fun, and right, whatever it is that they're planning, their travel arrangements. They're planning on where they want to go next. They're planning on what to wear when they travel and how to wear their makeup, or right. So think of the resources that your content can provide, or think of your content as a resource, shall we say. Remember that Pinterest is not Instagram. This is not about trending audio, trending flashy videos. And also remember that Pinterest is a visual search engine. It is not social media in the sense of you go there and keep scrolling. Like, who doesn't get on TikTok and get stuck there for a half an hour? I know I do, because some stuff is funny, right? Like, it just is. But with Pinterest, I'm much more strategic when I go to Pinterest and I'm searching for something. And I think most people are, to be fair. Now, all right. So let me fix this kind of content block that some of you may be feeling. I'm sharing out 10 ideas, pin ideas that you can use right now. You can tweak them, you can fit them into your Pinterest profile, you can get that vibe happening. And I will tell you that they work across any niche on Pinterest. Now, I spent some time researching over the course of the last week to understand the best pins to make, pin ideas to make, and I've put them in the order from 1 to 10 that I feel suits them, if you will. How did I determine this? Well, I looked at the saves, or the likes, if you will, and the comments, because a lot of pins have comments, positive comments. So those were the 2 factors I used in determining this list. Of course, remember, I cannot see people's analytics. I can't go into somebody's profile, not even as a pioneer, no. And so, I have to go based on what I can see. Okay? So here we go. Starting off with number 1, lead magnet pins. Like, these are awesome, right? If you've got a freebie, a downloadable, something, right? Make some pins. 3 to 5 pins are totally okay with different hooks, okay, leading to the same link. You can definitely link it out to the same link. What I would encourage you to do in this case, do not make 5 pins that look identical to each other using the same hook, same layout, same, right? Change them up. Put them going to the same link, which is totally fine. And share your lead magnets. Grow your email list. Do those things. People love those, right? Free is big, right? Let's be honest. Free is big. Number 2, carousel blogs, posts or pins, excuse me. Turn your post, right, that you've created on your blog, on your website, regardless of your niche, turn it into a multi-slide. Take 2 or 3 points from your blog post, create like a Canva pin, maybe an Adobe pin, and upload to Pinterest, and use them as a bit of a teaser, and encourage people to go to your blog with a call to action to go to your blog and read the rest of the post. Really great pin, very, very straightforward. You've already done the hard work. You've done the content on your blog, so why not share it? Next one that I saw that was really popular, client testimonials. So these are really big, especially if you're getting really 5-star review type testimonials, or maybe you helped someone in a really difficult situation and they were really appreciative and wrote this amazing testimonial, right? Because everybody loves those. What I saw online on Pinterest was people, sharing these testimonials as pins using really bold quotes. They've got a clean design, so no clutter, and a really solid call to action saying, hey, if you want to know more, sort of read the full story of where this testimonial came from. And those seem to be very, very popular. Okay. The next one that I saw, and it's kind of old school, but it's got a new spin on it, behind the scenes, right? Think about your process, how you do something, your workspace, where you work, how you work around what's around you when you're working. Do you listen to music? Do you dance? Do you, think about your process and basically how you serve your audience, your clients. The behind the scenes, people love seeing the real you, and they love seeing how you show what you do and what makes you great and what makes you a person that they want to work with. Okay. Next one that's really popular, and this is popular across all platforms, I would say. I don't think Pinterest is very unique to this. Mini tutorials. Who hasn't seen a mini tutorial on Canva on Instagram? Like, seriously, right? How to, right? Making certain types of content, or right? So consider creating a mini tutorial pin. It's a one slide how-to graphic, which is really, really nice. Really, really straightforward. If it's a video, especially, even more engaging. So consider that. Now, these ones I love, and I put this at number 6 because I wouldn't say that they're the most saved, but they're definitely across every niche. And I do see them. And if they're good, they're good. So what am I talking about? A checklist pin. Now, I see those a lot in fitness. I also see them a lot in fashion and beauty. Most of the pins that I saw that were checklists were very visual, like really nice visuals, and really save-worthy, meaning the information on that checklist was pretty great. Like, it was, it really clarified that here's the steps you need to take to do this. And I did see a lot of engagement. More so, not so much saves, but I saw a lot of comments. So take that into consideration. Number 7 on my list, mistakes to avoid pins. Create a mistakes to avoid pin. Now, what can I tell you about these? These constantly get clicks regardless of the niche. Because really there's lots of mistakes to avoid in pretty much everything you do. So, right, especially in fitness, like, things to avoid when you go to the gym, or things to avoid when you're eating this, or, right? So do consider mistakes to avoid. The before and afters. Now, these are old, right? These have been around for a long time, really, really popular. What they're really showing is a transformation. Now, again, across any niche, visually or conceptually, but I would say visually is really the go-to. The ones that I saw on Pinterest generally were visual, and they seem to be, although across any niche, they seem to be more, apparent in the home decor niche. That seemed to be where I saw them the most. So for example, a room that's one color, and now they're painting it into right. And there's even a little bit of during the process, but definitely a before and after. So number 9, FAQ pins. Now, these are kind of new, and I've been seeing them sparingly on Pinterest here and there. And then as I was doing my research, of course, the algorithm understood what I was looking for, and boom shakalaka, there were a whole bunch of FAQ pins. What are they? They're pins that answer real questions from people's direct messages, or from their clients, or pinners, right? And what they've done is they've created a pin where they're actually answering the question. They're sharing the real question from the DM, and then they do like a reveal and do the answer. Okay, or they link out to read my response, and then they go, and people should go and follow the link so they can read what the answer was to that question. So really kind of cool concept. I think those ones are going to start to become more and more popular. Number 10, inspo boards, pins, pins, and mood board pins. Really, really popular, amazing for designers, coaches, visual brands especially. Fitness, I use them in fitness. I use them for the Simple Site Lab and web design. And so I can honestly tell you they are like, now I know I put them at 10, but they really haven't, they're still kind of growing, but definitely, amazing. They get amazing engagement. Remember that when you're creating content, creating pins on Pinterest, you don't need 100 ideas. Like, you seriously don't. You just need a system. Okay, when you're working on Pinterest and working on Pinterest content. And I am going to keep building on that every week here on the pod. So stay tuned for that. Stay with me for all of the episodes. Now, amazing, right? You've made these pins. Now let's make sure they're actually going to work, right? And now I've created a pin process checklist. Again, I'm going to share all this in the show notes for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But I have created a pin process checklist. So you've made the content. What do you do next? Well, before you hit publish, make sure you pin it to the most relevant board first. Like, don't create something and then pin it to a board that has nothing to do with what you've created. Make sure it's on topic, right? Consistency, we hear that all the time. Consistency is key. It's true, even where you pin your stuff to. Make sure that you're using a keyword, optimized title, and description. So keywords, SEO, think SEO. Consider, how people are searching for the kind of content that you're creating. And use those keywords. Use Pinterest trends, look at your analytics. There's a whole bunch of things that you can use in order to obtain those keywords. But that is something you need to consider. Big one here, include your link. Always, always, always include a link. I see a lot of people, I actually did a post on this on the PBC recently. I see a lot of people creating pins with no link. The information in the pin is really solid. It's really good, really helpful, resourceful. But then you're left hanging. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. What do you do? Right? They don't even say save the pin. They just pin it. And I really am a firm believer that now, especially in this day and age, at this moment, you need to tell people what to do. People want to know where to go to learn more. They may, if they've stopped long enough to look at your video or your pin and read it and click on it and like it, right? Then they deserve to get something, I think, in return. They need more. So you need to give them that. I do see, as a side note, companies who are on Pinterest who do not link to anything. In fact, they don't even put descriptions in their pins. But what I have found with companies that do this actually is that they have a very large following on other platforms. Think YouTube. Okay? So when they're pinning on Pinterest, they don't feel the need to do it because they've already got a base on another platform. And they're just putting it out there to be on Pinterest, I think. So, but please, please, please include a link. Nextly, when you're creating content, we talk about batch content. I'm just going to touch on it here a little bit. Take a day, half a day, whatever it is, sit down and create your content for the week or for 2 weeks. Okay. And the beauty of doing this, not only does it, you don't have to create on the fly, but you can schedule it using either Pinterest Scheduler, which I actually use. It's free. I don't want to pay for scheduling personally. For those of you who do want to pay, do want the extras that go along with scheduling pins, consider Tailwind, consider Later. And I think there's like a whole bunch of other ones that you could consider. But definitely schedule out your posts and your content. It will really take off the stress of it. So do consider that. Now, with these amazing pins or pin that you've created, not right away, not today or tomorrow, but maybe in a few days, take those same pins or pin that you've created today and share them to other boards, but do it over time, right? Repinning with purpose. Don't do all of the boards at once. So allow yourself some time, for the pin to gain traction, and then start pinning to another board and then pin to another board. And I think that's a really responsible way to pin, personally. Now, as a side note here, remember, pins don't go viral in 24 hours. Doesn't happen on Pinterest, really. They tend to grow over time. Think of your pins and your content as planting evergreen content. I mean, that's really what it is. That's a sort of a new buzzword for Pinterest, for social media really in general. And again, Pinterest is not social media, but is evergreen content. It's staying there. It's got durability, right? And you're not throwing spaghetti against a wall as you create. A lot of creators do that, and sort of, unfortunately, they feel the effects of that strategy, which is not really a strategy. So remember that it's growth over time on Pinterest. Now, this is my sort of favorite part of the show, and it's because I am bringing questions, straight from the PBC. I'm going to jump right in here into, this week's real life Q from the inside the Pinterest business community. There was a man named Carlos. He's a brand designer, and he actually asked this. He says, in quote, and it's in quotes here, I made 20 pins for my offer and got 0 saves. What gives? Okay, so I think all of us can feel his pain. We've all created one or more pins where you don't get anything. You don't get likes, you don't get saves. You might get some impressions, but that's about it, right? There's just no engagement. There's nothing to validate what you've done. So there are 3 things to consider when you have pins or a pin. There are 3 things to consider if you're not getting saves, you're not getting the engagement, you're not getting likes. Okay. First thing to consider is design. Are your pins or pin, are they scroll stopping? Do they make people want to stop and look? Are they readable or are they cluttered? Are you using a font that's really too small? Can people see it? Remember that clutter, for example, if you've got too much stuff going on the screen, it can totally kill a pin. I think, and I say pin, but it really any content that you create online for online use, if it's too cluttered, too whatever, people don't like it, it kills it. Okay. The next thing I would consider looking at is your hook. So, when you create content, you want a hook that engages people. You want a hook that grabs people's attention, something that they can relate to. Is it a juicy sort of headline or is it really sort of blasé and generic, right? For example, a blasé kind of generic type of hook would be brand tips. Well, there's lots of pins on Pinterest that say brand tips. And then a more upbeat, more eye-catching, and more engaging 3 logo mistakes to avoid. Which one would you click, right? The last thing I would look at for Carlos, especially with 20 pins and 0 saves, 0 engagement, is what's in it for the viewer. Is there something there that's worth, that causes the viewer to say, yeah, I'm going to save this, I'm going to like it, and I'm going to look for more content from this person, from this pinner. Is it worth saving? If there's nothing there for the pinner to take away in terms of a resource, or something that's relevant to them, chances are, they're not going to save it. They might look at it, but they're not going to save it. Okay. So pro tip here, if you've created content, make sure that you're adding a call to action, because that was the other thing that Carlos actually probably didn't do. I'm guessing didn't see the pins, but didn't do a call to action. So a regular, pretty solid call to action is save for later. Or sort of download a free guide or get your freebie here, but you have to tell people what to do next. It's not enough anymore to say, follow me for more tips. You need to give them a reason. You need to give them something to do. People want something to do because they enjoy what they're looking at, their journey, and they want it to keep going, probably to your website. So the more you give them to do, the more they will do. Okay, so that would be my 3 things for this particular question from the PBC. Consider your design, consider your hook, and consider the value that the pin or the content is offering to the viewers, to the pinners. Okay, so onwards to pin and plan tip of the week. I am going to leave you with a super actionable, no fluff tip that you can use. Now, for those of you who blog, and I'm sure there's lots of us, and it doesn't matter what your niche is, by the way, you can do this for any niche. Take a blog post, one blog post, and cut it up into 5 pins, 5 unique pins. Now, you can do this. You can get 5 pieces of content for Pinterest for a week from one blog post, and here's how you do it. Take your blog post once it's completed, it's on your site, let's say, or you've written it. Pull a quote from the blog post. That's the first thing. That's the first pin you're going to create is a quote. It's going to be a bold graphic on a clean background. It's going to be nice and easy to read. And it's going to be something that's, that actually resonates with pinners, right? Number 2, you're going to look at your blog post and you're going to pick 3 main takeaways from whatever that post is about. You're going to turn it into a carousel. Now you can do that in Canva. You can do it in Adobe, and you can create another pin. And then encourage people. Use those 3 takeaways as kind of a teaser to get people to go back to your blog and read the rest of the blog post, right? If there's one thing that Pinterest does, it sends people to your site. Like, absolutely, especially with bloggers. The next thing you're going to do, so that's two pieces. That's two pieces of content you can create. List the benefits, what you'll learn from reading this blog post, right? Do a 1-page list of the things that you'll get if you go to my site and read this blog post, right? That's what you're going to, right? So there's 3 pieces of content. Ask a question as the hook. Now, you don't have to create all these different slides. You can do a video that with good background and good visuals. Ask a question as the hook. Want to know what, if you ask the question, want to know more, then you're going to link out to your blog post and send people to your site to read that answer to that question. That's 4 pieces of content. Number 5, drop a stat or even a mini testimonial if you have it. If you don't have it, that's fine. Drop a stat, right, for your blog, from a blog post that you've written, right? If it's fitness, I don't know, 75% of people now like tricep dips over tricep kickbacks. I don't know, right? That is 5 pieces of content, right? So you get, boom, 1 blog, 5 pins, months of traffic, right? Because it's evergreen, it grows over time. So you get to have that, right? That extra 5 pins. That's all you need. Remember that Pinterest loves content recycling, especially when it's done right. Okay. So when I talk about recycling, you're taking one thing and you're turning it into 5 pieces of content, and you're pushing it out. It might be about the same blog. It might be about the same, but it's recycling. You're taking that information and you're putting it out there over and over. Okay. Now, we're getting close to the end of the show here, but podcast poll of the week. It's your turn. Let's do this. This week's poll is up on Spotify right now, and here's what I want to know. What kind of pins do you struggle with the most? Freebie or lead magnet pins, product or offer pins, tips and educational pins, maybe inspirational or branding pins, or maybe it's just like straight up all of the above. Click your answer over on Spotify or DM me at Body Mind Mood Fit or at the Simple Site Lab. I definitely read them all, and I did read the ones that I got last week, so that's fine. And that's a wrap on episode 2. I'm going to recap really quick for you what we talked about today. If you're feeling stuck, remember, you're not alone in this. Lots of people feel the same way. You now have 10 go-to content ideas to break through on Pinterest. Remember that a single blog post can actually do so much more than you think. Think 5 times the work in a week. And the long game on Pinterest pays off. No dancing or trending audio required. You don't have to do anything special and be flashy about it. Here's what I need you to do next. Please follow the show so you never miss a Thursday drop. Leave me a really quick review because it helps me a lot. Screenshot and tag me at the Simple Site Lab or at Body Mind Mood Fit or at Body Mind Mood on the PBC. And drop your question in the PBC or even send me a DM if you want your question featured on the next show. So until next week, keep pinning, purpose, planning with intention, and I will catch you on the next episode of the Pin and Plan podcast. Bye for now.